Hello, how are we? Welcome back to Atomic Habits, Chapter 8 by James Clear. Let's begin. Let's talk about how to make a habit irresistible. Your good habits, how to make them irresistible. Nico Timbergen was a scientist studying birds like the herring gull, had this red dot on its beak. It's crazy. And then he took a cardboard cutout of the beak, fake bird, brought it to the baby birds. He didn't think much would happen, but to his surprise, they saw the little red dot on the beak and they went absolutely nuts. They loved it. They started pecking at the beak and they wanted the food from the mother, basically. Then he was like, okay, let's put three red dots on the beak. So he did that. And what happened? The birds went nuts in delight and they wanted the food from the beak more than ever. It's almost as if they were programmed that way. It's almost like we're in the Matrix and they're programmed to see the red dots. The more red dots there were, the harder I should peck at and get food. Same with the gray-legged goose, but in a different way. The gray-legged goose would see an egg falling out of its nest. And whenever that would happen, it would go over, grab the egg, put it back in the nest. But then they put a golf ball in the nest or something. I forgot. They put a golf ball, made it fall out of the nest, and the bird took the golf ball and they put it back in the nest. So the bird thought the golf ball was just because it was a white object. And then they did it with a volleyball. Guess what happened? The bird went crazy to get the volleyball, pushing it around and stuff, trying to get it back in the nest. And when it got it back in the nest, it literally sat on top of the volleyball, trying to protect it, as if it was genetically wired to protect the volleyball, to protect the egg. If it's bigger, I should try harder to protect it, right? Humans are the same way, and we are attracted to high calorie food sources like salt, fat, and sugar. And back in the day, like hunting gathering times, this was a really effective strategy to get calories, to just eat as much as possible, these calorie dense foods, and we would be happy. But today, we have an abundance of these foods, and we don't really need them as much as we did before. But we're still craving for them all the time. So, us having these foods all the time is just going to make us fat, and it's not going to be very effective for our health. It's going to cause us to be obese and all that stuff. Companies have hijacked this craving, our natural craving for food, and these high calorie dense sources. They've literally done experiments to see what types of foods are like the most palatable and everything, like the most delicious for your taste buds. They're like, okay, we need a layer of crunch, we need a layer of like creaminess, we need we need crunchiness, we need everything like perfect. And like you got like Oreos with like the hard outsides and everything and like the creamy middle. You got the soft cheese on top of a pizza and like the hard crunchy crust and everything. And they're literally designing these foods to appeal to our primal senses to want these high calorie dense foods and make them tastier. These kinds of packaged foods are like a condensed hyper form of like regular food. Video games are like a condensed hyper form of board games. Hard liquor is like a hyper condensed form of beer. And even like mannequins in malls and stuff, the hips and breasts are accentuated, so like we are more drawn to that. Like it's more attractive, right? And all this attraction and desire is because of this one molecule in like our brains or whatever called dopamine. The first time they studied this, they had rats and they kind of sucked the dopamine out of their brains. Or I forgot, they put something in their brain that inhibited dopamine completely. And these rats, after that happened, they didn't want to have sex. They didn't want to eat. They didn't want to drink. They didn't want to do nothing. They just wanted to sit and do nothing until they died eventually. And this just shows how important dopamine is for us. It's literally our desire to do anything, our motivation to do anything. So we want the highest levels of dopamine possible, right? And when they gave the rats more dopamine, like a super condensed amount of dopamine in their brain, they went crazy with their like noses like sniffing around. They wanted every single natural urge more. They had like more sex, they ate more food, they drank more water, they did everything. Most people think dopamine is about pleasure. It's actually not about pleasure because when they fed the rats that were deprived of dopamine, sugar, they had like these little smiles on their faces. Like they had so much pleasure. They were so happy. But instead, they just didn't like want it anymore. They had no motivation to have more. But the feeling of pleasure was still there when they got it. It's just there was no urge to act to get the thing that they wanted. So the first time you experience a dopamine spike in a habit, and habits is formed. It happens at the reward stage. So something happens, boom, your dopamine goes up. Second time around, you do the thing. You notice the cue and you get the craving for that thing that you felt the first time. Then you do the thing, and your dopamine actually goes up less this time. Now, the next time afterwards, what might happen is you get a craving for the thing, and then you get disappointed by the results, or you don't actually get that thing, cock blocked. But then another time, you might get the craving for the thing, your dopamine goes up, and then you might get disappointed again, and oh, the thing doesn't happen. Oh, but it does happen, and then it goes shoots up like crazy. And I think this is actually what like social media and stuff like does. Like they'll show you like a sad video, and then they'll show you like something super happy or something, and like that's literally like hijacking your dopamine to like keep you on these websites. And it's like a child on Christmas morning when they wake up, they're actually having more fun. They're having more dopamine spikes before they're about to open the presents than actually when they do open the presents. So let's make our habits more attractive with temptation bundling. This was a man by the name of Ronan Byron sitting on this bike here, and he was fat. But he loved to watch Netflix. But he was an engineer. So he hacked his bike to a laptop, connected it to the TV. And whenever he would stop cycling, then his TV would pause. He would pause the show he was watching. So he couldn't watch the show unless he was cycling at a certain speed. So someone was like, oh, eliminating obesity one Netflix binge at a time or something. You can actually do this with a TV in your gym. And I actually did this. I actually can't remember a time. I actually didn't have a time where I didn't have a TV in my gym on like my early days of working out. I'll literally be like, I would listen to music. I wouldn't really listen to music, to be honest. I would watch Minecraft videos, if I'm being honest. So we can use habit stacking plus temptation bundling as well, which is doing your habit beforehand, and then after the habit you do the thing like you want to do, that you do the thing you crave. You need to be more grateful. Okay, great. After you get your morning coffee, you'll say one thing that you were grateful for that happened yesterday. After you say one thing you're grateful for, you get to read the news. Let's say you need to call more clients. After you get back from your lunch break, you will call 3 potential clients, which is something you need. After you call the 3 potential clients, you will check ESPN, which is what you wanted to do. After you pull out your phone, you do 10 burpees. You need to exercise more. After you do the 10 burpees, you will watch Facebook, which is what you wanted to do. So you might be like, oh, well, I'm just gonna like, my brain's just gonna like bypass the first thing and go to the second thing. Yeah, maybe, but like if you, the more often like you do the first thing and then the second thing and then the first thing and the second thing, you'll be more consistent at it, and you'll more likely to like stay loyal to it every single time. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Short chapter today. As always, like and subscribe and stay tuned for more.